Ya se despedía. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. NFL Week 6 is officially upon us, and I have a ton of great picks to go ahead and share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. We have a ton of great content here on the channel, guys, and the best part is all the picks, everything that we give out across any sport and any video is 100% free. So you're missing out, really, if you're not subscribed already. So if you haven't, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. All right, guys, welcome back to the NFL Oracle. I am the NFL Oracle, and we have a lot of stuff to get to in today's video. We got a new week, which of course means a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. But first, before we dive into all of today's picks, I have a lot to go ahead and share, and I mean a lot between spreads, money lines, teasers, parlays, everything. A lot of stuff to get through. But first, before all that, a quick little recap of how we did last week. And overall, guys, not too voice crack. By the way, if you can't tell, I am sick, so apologies for the nasally voice and my voice cracks at any point in the video like it just did. I am battling a little bit of cold here, but the show must go on, so just to let you guys know why my voice sounds a little extra annoying today. That's why. But overall, not too shabby last week. We went 8-7-1 overall. Again, not a fantastic week, but a solid week nonetheless. 8-7-1 on our straight picks. We had a couple of nice hits on the player props, a couple nice bets, a couple close misses too, which was frustrating. A lot of those games came down to the wire. We did have a push there with Jaguars -3, but overall a pretty solid week. We've only had 3 episodes of the NFL Oracle so far, so we don't have the entire season to go off of, but in the 3 weeks we've done videos so far, 19-17-2 records so far this year on our straight picks. We're now 0-6 on parlays. To be fair, though, we are taking a lot of all of our parlays have been really big swing parlays, like 3 legs, 4 legs, 5 legs. All of them are like plus 300, plus 400. So we're taking big swings. None of them have landed thus far, but I have a feeling this week we got a little bit of a better chance of hitting. And our teasers are 3-6 so far. Teasers have been kind of a mess. Last week, to be fair, I made the Cardinals set. I put the Seahawks in practically every single teaser, and of course, they did not cover. So that's Cardinals saying you're not supposed to put the same team in every single play. And the Seahawks did cost us big time with that horrible performance against the Giants. But guys, new week, tons of picks, no time to waste. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. For those who have watched the show before, thank you for returning. And those who have not watched the show, welcome. I basically go through most of the games, almost every game, and give you my picks game by game. Just to let you guys know, though, I don't cover every single game, and there's a reason why. Not just because I don't want to give extra picks. I give a ton of picks here. There's some stay-away games that I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about real quick before we dive into the official picks, just so you guys are cautious. I have 3 stay-away games. These are games that I just don't really want to touch. If you're going to touch them, I would say player props are probably the way to go. They're just too risky for me, and I'd rather just stay out of it. There's a lot of other action to go ahead and take. Actually, the first 2 are right here. We got Jaguars, Bears. I'm not touching it. My lean actually is Chicago -1, but I just think it's far too risky. These London games, a little weird. The Jaguars in particular in London, a really weird team. They don't call them the London Jaguars for nothing. I know Jacksonville have not been great this year, and by all standards, Chicago should probably be the play, but the fact that Jacksonville's +1 tells you something here. I'm worried about that game, so I'd rather just go ahead and not touch it. Same thing for Pats Texans. Texans, they are 6.5-point favorites. They haven't covered this spread of 6.5 at any point this year. All of their wins have been by 6 points or less. Their biggest win was against the Bears on that Sunday night football game. They won by 6. Houston has not been. They're 4-1, but a lot of their wins have been these tight games, these kind of ugly games. I know New England's a mess right now, but you got a new quarterback in there, rookie quarterback. It could spice things up. The Texans know Nico Collins, some injuries there on the offense. I just don't want to touch this game. If I had to, I'd lean New England here, maybe buy that half a point, make it +7. But I'm just going to go ahead and stay away from this game altogether. And then my last stay away game is this Colts-Titans game. These AFC South battles are just kind of messy. I don't really know what to make of either of these teams. The Titans are coming off a bye week, but the Will Levis has been awful so far this year. Their defense is pretty damn good, but their offense is such a mess. And then you got the Colts, who I don't know what to make of them. Some weeks, like against the Steelers, the defense looked okay, and then other times, like last week versus the Jaguars, the defense looked like shit. Their offense is very hit or miss. Is Flacco going to play? Is Richardson going to play? I don't know. My opinion to you guys, my option to you guys, is just stay away from this one. All right, finally diving into the official picks now. Our first game we're looking at is Bucs Saints, 1 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. I'm going with the Bucs here at -3. We're going with it at -123 on DraftKings. It is available on Bet365, BetMGM, and ESPN Bet for varying odds. Guys, as always, go ahead and shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. I'm going Bucs -3 here. The Bucs have been pretty impressive so far this year. The only loss where the only game where they were really bad was that loss versus Denver, 26-7. Besides that, even that overtime loss to the Falcons, they still played pretty decently in the game, specifically offensively. In the insights provided by Outlier, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 12-6, 66.7% hit rate against the spread in their last 18 games. So this is a Tampa team that has been covering the number pretty consistently over the last year and a half. For New Orleans, this just feels like the most predictable thing of all time. Those first two games felt very fluky to me. I know a lot of people were like, oh, Kubiak. And to be fair, injuries have definitely decimated this team. But this just felt like it was inevitable for the Saints. They've now lost 3 straight games after a 2-0 start. I think a lot of people picked them in that Chiefs game. They fell flat on their face in that one. And on top of it, to add insult to injury, Derek Carr's hurt. He's out. Now you've got rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler in this game. And look, these rookie quarterback games can be very, very strange. I talked about with the Pats Texans why it's a stay away game because I just don't know what to make of it. I don't really like the Pats +7 because the Pats have been awful, but Drake May factor. You never know what's going to happen. The same thing here. You really don't know what to expect with Spencer Rattler. There's not a lot to go off of, but he's a 5th-round pick for a reason. I wasn't a huge fan of his in college. I'm not a huge fan of his now. The Saints still have injuries in the offensive line. They still have issues with injuries. Their offense, again, Kamara's still a little bit banged up there. I just don't like the spot. I think Tampa is in a much better place than the Saints are. Coming off that Thursday Night Football loss, they have a little bit of extra rest as well. Some extra time to go ahead and prepare for this game. To be totally transparent, even if Derek Carr was playing, I'd still probably take Tampa at this -3 line. I don't think the quarterback makes a huge difference here. I think Tampa's the better team. I think the Saints are trending in the wrong direction. The injuries in this offensive line are drastic. And it's not a good spot for a rookie quarterback. And look at the matchup here. I mean, the Saints' strength on defense is the run defense, but the problem is Tampa's not really a run-heavy offense. Their strength lies more in the pass, and the Saints' pass defense has been kind of atrocious. 26th in the NFL, giving up 251 passing yards per game. Not very good. This is the 8th best scoring defense in the NFL, but you can clearly see they do have some issues there. And on the flip side, the Saints' strength has been their rushing offense, but guess what? The Bucs' strength on defense has been their run defense. So this is just not a good matchup for New Orleans. I like Tampa Bay here -3. They're actually -3.5. I bought half a point down. Take them to -3. If you really want to play it a little safer, take them at 2.5. Of course, you're sacrificing a lot of value there, but with -3, you have some push potential. I do like the Bucs here, though, at -3 on the road. These teams do typically split. The last time they played in New Orleans back on October 1st of last year, the Bucs did crush them 26-9 in that game. The last time they played in Tampa. So the road team's actually been winning more often than not in these matchups. So I think Tampa's got the win here. All right, guys, next up we got Cardinals-Packers, 1 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. I'm going with the over here, 47.5 points. We get that from -105 on FanDuel. Again, as always, guys, available on multiple sports books for varying odds. This spot does feel a little obvious to me, but it's obvious because I like it a lot. Again, this is actually plus money if you have Bet365. Actually plus money on that sports book. Look, these are two pretty solid scoring offenses and defenses that have some question marks. Look at the right side of the screen here. The Packers' top 10 scoring offense right now. They've scored at least 24 points in both games since Jordan Love has been back. Top 10 scoring offense. They're the 3rd best rushing offense in the NFL, 10th best pass offense. Again, the Cardinals' 28th rushing defense, 25th scoring defense. A really good matchup there. On the flip side, now while Green Bay's defense is not as bad as Cardinals' defense, 13th scoring defense, they are 23rd in passing yards allowed, 11th in run defense, was actually pretty solid. But the Cardinals' offense has been very unpredictable. Arizona obviously coming off that big upset win against the 49ers last week. Green Bay coming off of that win against the Rams. These are two teams that can put up points, and they're very tricky. A mobile quarterback for the Cardinals here. It's a really weird matchup. I think Green Bay will probably win this game and do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the scoring. I just didn't like the 5-point spread. I prefer to take the over here because I do think the Cardinals should be able to score some points here. The insights provided by Outlier tell us the over is hit in 10 of the Packers' last 14 games. So these are usually high-scoring games. And just look at the last couple. I mean, 29 points they gave up. 31 points they gave up to the Vikings. 19, even in that Rams game, that Rams offense banged the smithereens. 19 points in that game. So the over did not hit last week, but it was pretty close. This is obviously a better offense in Arizona. There's also a worse defense than what the Rams have. I do like the matchup here in terms of the over. Record versus common opponent. The Cardinals beat the Rams 41-10. The Packers beat the Rams 24-19. Does it matter a lot? I don't know, but the over seems like a good play here. All right, guys, next up we got Eagles-Browns, 1 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. I'm going Eagles team total here, over 24.5 points, available on DraftKings for -130 odds. Look, I'm staying away from taking a side in this game. The Eagles are 8.5-point favorites, a massive spread. I just don't trust the Eagles to cover that big, but I also don't feel confident enough to take the Browns here at plus 8.5. This is a really bad Browns team, a lot of issues with them. So I think the safe play here is bet on the Eagles offense to have a really good game. They're coming off a bye week, so they've had an extra week to go ahead and prep for this game. For the first time since week 1, really, they're healthy. Lane Johnson's back. A.J. Brown is back. Devontae Smith is back. So they've had an extra week of rest, an extra week to prepare. They have their offense fully healthy again. This, to me, screams recipe for a cash. So far in 2024, again, just 1 out of 4 games they've actually cashed over. They're averaging 21.5 points per game. Back in week 1, they had 34 points against the Packers. But since then, pretty steadily bad decline there. But again, this game versus the Bucs, for example, they didn't have Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. No A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown got hurt in this one. So, they haven't had their full offense. Now they do. They look at the matchup versus a Browns defense that's not been particularly good. The Browns defense tied for 21st in scoring. They're giving up 24.2 points per game, so pretty much where we need that number to be. This is one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL, 25th in rushing. The Eagles obviously top 5 in rushing. Now they have the passing attack to go ahead and add to it. I just don't like the Browns in this spot here, but again, don't want to touch the sides. Don't want to touch the overall total because I don't know what Cleveland's offense can do in this game. I like the Eagles here, though, with their full offense. It's a shaky Browns defense thus far this year. I think the Eagles have a big bounce back spot here and score some points. So take the over here, team total at 24.5. All right, guys, next up we got Ravens, Commanders. I think this is the most fun game of the 1 p.m. slate. I'm taking Baltimore here, minus 6.5. I do feel a little bit like the boy who cried wolf on this one. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks on this show. I think the Commanders are due for a letdown spot, and I've been wrong the last 2 weeks. I took the Cardinals against them. I took the Browns against them, and both times I was proven wrong. This Washington team has defied all my expectations, and I can admit that openly. I've been wrong about them, but I still think that the letdown spot's coming, and I think the third time's the charm here, guys. Look, part of the thing with Washington, and the reason why I don't think I'm fully convinced now, if they win this game, I'll have no more doubts about them the rest of the year, but who have they beaten? And that's my problem here, is who have they beaten? You look at all 4 of their wins, they're against sub-500 teams. They've beaten the 1-4 Browns, the 2-3 Cardinals, the 1-4 Bengals, the 2-3 Giants. Their only game against a team that's 500 or better was against the Bucs back in week 1, and they got their ass handed to them in that game. Also, by the way, the insights provided by Outlier, the Ravens are 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games as a favorite. It's a 75% hit rate. This is a Baltimore team that is challenged. Look at their schedule compared to the Commanders. They played the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bills, and even the Bengals. That game was a shootout last week. Their schedule has been much tougher. The only sub-5, I guess also, the Bengals are sub-500, but, the Raiders and the Bengals are the 2 weaker games they've had on the schedule so far. That's about on par with what Washington, they've even played the Bengals. It's on par. Washington, I just don't think they've beaten anybody of this caliber. This is the toughest game of the year so far. On the road against John Harbaugh, I just don't like the spot. And if any team is prepared for Jaden Daniels, nobody's more prepared than Baltimore is. And I know the comparisons. I know Jaden Daniels has even come out and said, I don't want to be the next somebody. I want to be Jaden Daniels. I actually am a very big fan of his. If the Patriots had ended up with him, I would have been very happy. Love Drake May, but I would have been very happy with Jaden Daniels. If the most similar comparison in terms of a quarterback right now is Lamar. If anybody's prepared for Jaden Daniels, it'd be Baltimore. They're used to playing in practice against a mobile quarterback. I think if anybody is more prepared for this game, it's going to be Baltimore. I think Baltimore's ready for this matchup. I know their defense have had some question marks. You saw last week versus the Bengals, that big shootout game. I just like the Ravens a lot here even at the minus 6.5 point line. I think Baltimore rolls. Washington's defense will not be able to handle Lamar. This is bottom 10 run defense in the NFL against the best rushing attack. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson should both have big days on the ground in this match. But again, I know Washington's offense has been very impressive, and this is one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, but it's also the best running defense in the NFL. And you look at Washington's strength so far this year, it's been the run game. They're averaging 178 yards per game on the ground. This is the best running defense in the NFL. They only give up 60 rushing yards a game. That's absolutely asinine to me. I just don't like the matchup for Washington here. I know the spread, very high point total. Very high spread, at 6.5 points. But I'm willing to go ahead and take it because I think Baltimore is far and away the better team. I think Washington's going to be a little shell-shocked here playing the Ravens in Baltimore. I think John Harbaugh's got a special game script just specifically for Jaden Daniels. I love the Ravens so much. So my next pick, I'm actually going to piggyback off this. I'm going Ravens first half spread, minus 3.5. The one area where I'm concerned about the overall spread of 6.5 points is that Baltimore late in these games love to blow leads. They love to do it. I don't know why they do it. I don't know what's going on with that situation with Baltimore, but they cannot hold on to leads. That's the one concerning factor for me big time with that 6.5 point spread. That being said, I think Baltimore comes out here very early and punches Washington in the mouth, minus 3.5 for a spread. It's available for minus 118 on DraftKings. Again, available on other sports books as well, but DraftKings seems to be the play here. I think Baltimore comes out here early. I think they smack them in the mouth. I think if there's any potential for Washington to cover the overall spread, it's going to be in the second half. I think the Ravens come out here. I think it's going to be too much for Washington to handle. I think it's going to be a shit show for them in the first half. I think Baltimore comes out strong. I think they come out aggressive, and they're going to go ahead and show this both the defense and offense of the Commanders. This is what a real team looks like. I like Ravens here at first half spread, minus 3.5. And from a data standpoint, they've only covered this first half line in 2 out of 3 games, but you look at all the games, they have had a lead not every game. Scratch that point. But the moral of the story being that all these first halves, they're either leading by a lot, like in the sense of the Cowboys game, 21-6, the Bills game, 21-3 at halftime, or they're really close. 3-point battle versus the Bengals, 3-point battle with the Raiders, 3-point battle with the Chiefs. The Ravens don't get blown out in the first half. I wouldn't necessarily say they're a great first half team, but they're a solid first half team. I think they got a really good chance to cover here. Real quick, guys, before I continue on with the rest of today's picks, a quick word from our partners over at DraftKings. That's right, guys. Guy Boston Sports and DraftKings Sportsbooks have partnered up to bring you this very special offer. Guys, if you've been watching the video, a lot of these picks are available on DraftKings. Some of the best odds you can find a lot of these picks are available on DraftKings. And with this offer, we're making it a lot easier for you to go ahead and tail these picks. If you've never used DraftKings before, if you're a new customer, go ahead and use the link down below in the description and bet $5. You get $200 instantly in bonus bets. There's no joshing yet. Let me read that one more time for you guys, just in case the people in the back who weren't paying attention, you missed it. If you are a new customer at DraftKings, use the link down below in the description, bet $5, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Guys, we're talking free money here to go ahead and throw on more picks to generate some more bankroll for you guys. Football season is in full swing between the NFL and college football. You also have the NBA coming up. MLB playoffs we're right in the middle of it. We got WNBA finals going on. Hockey's back. So many sports going on right now, guys. You want to have these free bonus bets to go ahead and make it so much easier to go ahead and bet on all these sports. So don't miss out on this very special offer. One more time, guys, as a new customer, use the link down below in the description. Bet $5, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Shout out to DraftKings for partnering with us for today's video. Let's get back to the picks. All right, guys, next up we got Chargers, Broncos. We're now moving on to the 4 o'clock slate on Sunday. I'm going Chargers here, minus 3. We are going to go and get that for minus 104 on FanDuel, also available minus 105 on DraftKings, and again, available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. Denver's been very, very impressive, to say the least. They're on a really nice little win streak after an 0-2 start. They've now won 3 straight games, and basically from the second half of that Steelers game all the way through last week versus the Raiders, they've been really, really impressive with a couple of really good wins there over the Buccaneers and the Jets. But I think they're due to come back down to earth a little bit here. And I think the Chargers is a good place for that to happen. Look at so far this year for the Broncos. I mean, like I said, they've actually covered this spread of +3 in 3 straight games. They're actually overall 4-1 against the spread. They've been covering on a really, the only game they haven't covered this year in the overall total, or the overall spread, is in that Steelers game back on September 15th. The Chargers, on the other hand, not too bad themselves, 2-1-1 so far this year. The Chargers are coming off a bye week, and Harbaugh's off a bye. Really, really, really dangerous. The Chargers are very much another case like the Eagles, where they that early bye week, most teams don't like it, but for these two teams, they kind of needed that early bye with some of the injuries they had, with some of the way they were playing in the first couple games. They needed that early bye to go ahead and get things straight. The Chargers, a little bit healthier now coming this game. They got their receivers back. Josh Palmer's back. They got Ladd McConkey here, who I think is a really solid rookie receiver. The running game obviously has been solid for them all season long. Most importantly, I think Herbert's probably a little healthier coming into this game. I just like the Chargers here to cover. Again, the insights provided by Outlier. The Chargers are 7-3, 70% hit rate against the spread in their last 10 games as a favorite. Now, I know they're in Denver here on the road, obviously a tough spot. I just like the Chargers to go ahead and burst the Broncos bubble a little bit here. Again, the Broncos, I can't really say anything negative about them. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL right now, but the one area where Denver, I wouldn't say weak, but their weaker area, if you had to pick one, is their run defense. They're 10th in the NFL right now against rushing. The Chargers offense, obviously 9th, but we know the reason why their rushing yards have been a little bit lower is because they haven't had the passing game to benefit it. But I do think the Chargers' passing attack should be slightly better. I think Herbert will be better in this game. I just like the Chargers. And also the defensively, I just don't know how Denver's offense is going to be able to move the football here. When you look at the Bucs win and you look at the Raiders win, those are both defenses that really just had no answers for the Broncos offense. The Broncos offense overall, if you put it into a vacuum, hasn't been that good. Bo Nix has had some better moments, But as a total, they're not good. This is bottom 11 in both rushing yards and passing yards, one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. And the Chargers defense top 10 in both passing yards allowed and rushing yards allowed. I think the Chargers are going to go ahead and do some things here, specifically takeaways, right? The Chargers tied for 4th in the NFL in turnovers, forced 1.8 turnovers per game here. Really solid defense. I think they're going to cause Bo Nix to make some mistakes. This is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game, but I think in the end of the day, the Chargers will be the team that comes out victorious in the end. I just think they have the better talent on the field, and sometimes talent is all you need. Again, the Bucs lost, right, to the Broncos. Their defense was banged up. They took advantage of that. The Jets, if Greg Zuerlein makes that field goal, the Broncos lose that game anyways. And the Raiders were just a disaster last week. And the Raiders actually had a good lead to start, and then Gardner Minshew just shit his pants. So I just think the Chargers are in a better spot. They had more time to prepare, coming off a lot of rest. They're ready for this game. They should win this game. Take the Chargers -3. And piggybacking off of that, guys, like I said, this should be an ugly, low-scoring game. These are two really good scoring defenses. The Chargers actually have the best scoring defense in the NFL. The Broncos tied for second. Two really good defenses against offenses that Chargers 28th in scoring offense, Broncos tied for 22nd. Offenses that have some question marks, defenses that are really good. I know the line's a little low here, but the under at 35.5 seems like the really smart play here. The under at 35.5 has actually cashed in all 5 Chargers games this year, and has cashed in 3 out of 5, all 4, Chargers games this year, and 3 of the 5 Broncos games. The under has hit in 9 of the Broncos' last 12 games as an underdog. Little tidbit there from Outliers. So I think the under is a really good spot, and you're getting it for -108 on DraftKings. Again, available on varying sportsbook for varying odds. Really good spot here. You could parlay them together. Not a bad parlay. All right, guys, next up might be my favorite pick of the entire slate. Steelers, Raiders, 4:05 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Give me the Steelers -3. The only area where I'm concerned about this game is that this could be a trap. This could be a trap. That's the only thing I could possibly think of in this game where the Steelers don't win and cover this. I almost took an alternate line like -6.5. I love the Steelers in this spot. I don't think it's a trap. The only reason I don't think it's a trap, excuse me, starting to get choked up here. I'm so excited about this game. I just think that Pittsburgh, coming off of back-to-back losses, obviously, tough losses to the Colts and the Cowboys, teams that I don't think are great teams to begin with. I think a lot of people are down on Pittsburgh, and I understand that. But the Raiders are awful. I don't understand, and I don't know where the Raiders came from. I don't want. Where is anybody besides Raiders fans confident in this team coming into the season? This is not a good football team. It's not. It never was. Even when they had the superstars on the field, this was never a good football team. But now you don't have Devontae Adams. You don't have Christian Wilkins. Max Crosby, who's been banged up himself. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. I would say probably. Let's go ahead and check that real quick. Not in the injury report, so he's going to play in this game, but he has been banged up here. Jacoby Myers dealing with a little bit of ankle thing, questionable. Michael Mayer out. They got so many injuries. Now, the Steelers have their own fair share of injuries, to be fair, but I just do not like this team. I don't like it at all. Like I said, the Steelers, a laundry list of injuries for Pittsburgh as well. But I don't care. I don't like the Raiders in this spot at all. Now you're going from Gardner Minshew to Aiden O'Connell. I have one of my best friends is a Raiders fan here, so maybe it's a little bit biased because I watched a lot of games with him. I hear him talk about them all the time. I watched a lot of Aiden O'Connell last year. I wish I didn't. The kid sucks, and I hate to say that because, I never want to wish badly on somebody who's – I can't throw the football as good as he can, obviously, but my God, what did he do last year that provided any kind of hope for this team? I understand you had to move off of Gardner, but this is not going to be any better. This is going to be a disaster here. The Steelers' defense should absolutely decimate what's left of this offense. Even if they had Devontae Adams, I wouldn't like the Raiders here, but now they don't have him. Myers is banged up. They can't run the football. Flat out, they can't. And to go ahead and show you guys here, the Raiders' offense, the third worst rushing offense. They're only getting 84 rushing yards a game. The Steelers have the fifth best run defense in the NFL. They can't run the football. The Steelers stop the run. They don't have Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers is dinged up. I just don't know where the Raiders win this game defensively. This is the 27th scoring defense in the NFL. They can't stop the run. Guess what the Steelers can do very well? Run the football. Guess what the passing offense has been great, but they can throw the ball. I just love, this is my lock. And actually, if you comment Steelers down below and if they cover, I'm giving somebody a gift card, $20 Amazon gift card to anybody who comments Steelers if the Steelers win. Instead of doing my must-win, you know what? I'll do 2 contests. We'll do the must-win tease as well. I'll give out 2 gift cards this week if we win. How about that? We'll do this one and we'll do the must-win teaser giveaway. So, Comment Steelers, and if they win -3, I will go ahead and give someone a $20 Amazon gift card. This is just a lock to me. This feels like the lock of the century maybe for me is Steelers -3. I can't see them losing this game. I just can't. Next up, guys, Lions, Cowboys, 4:25 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Another one that seems very easy to me, and maybe it's dangerous. It's so scary to me. I had the Lions here at -3. The Lions, obviously, coming off a bye week, an extra week to go and prepare for this game. The Cowboys coming off of two really big primetime wins, Thursday Night Football versus the Giants and Sunday Night Football versus the Steelers. But the point remains, this Cowboys team, which wasn't great to begin with, is decimated with injuries. Now, the Steelers last week, obviously you watched my Sunday Night Football video. I thought the Steelers would take advantage. They didn't. I think that has more to say about the Steelers than it does the Cowboys in that spot. I just think that Dallas, this is the team that will take advantage of the injuries. This is the team. They are coming off extra rest. Even if they weren't coming off extra rest, I'd take the Lions here. But they have extra rest. They had more time to prep for this game. This is one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. And this is a Cowboys defense that is decimated, a Cowboys offense that is decimated. Where do the Cowboys, it's kind of the same thing as the last game. Where do the Cowboys win? I just don't know. I don't know. Micah Parsons, out, left ankle sprain. Okay, DeMarcus Lawrence, out. Deron Bland, out. A lot of guys out. A lot of guys out. On the offensive side, Brandon Cooks, out. Now, last week, Jalen Tolbert did step up versus the Steelers. He looks like maybe a new weapon for them, which they desperately obviously need. But there's just not a lot that I like about this Cowboys team. And look at the matchup here. The Cowboys defense tied 21st in scoring defense. 11th against the pass, pretty good. But this is a 24th ranked rushing defense in the NFL. And going against a top 10 rushing attack in Detroit, 151. They call him Sonic and Knuckles. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. I guess Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, whatever order you prefer. These two guys are dangerous. The Cowboys defense is going to be on their ass all game long. On the flip side, the Cowboys offense, again, they can't run the football, and guess what? They're not going to be able to. Now, the Lions pass defense does leave some questions to be asked. The Cowboys pass offense, obviously second best in the league in terms of passing yards, but I just don't trust Dak in this spot. This team also can get to the quarterback. 5th in QB hits, 5th in QB hurries. This Cowboys offensive line has been allowing Dak to get hit this season. I just don't like the spot at all here for Dallas. So give me the Lions here at -3. And piggybacking off of that, I'm going Lions team total over 27.5 points. I did give this pick out on H2H. If you haven't seen H2H so far this week's episode with me and Ev, go check that out. I gave this one of my plays on that video, over 27.5 points. I just don't like this Cowboys defense. I really don't. I think the Lions, coming off the bye week, they had 42 points the last time we saw them against Seattle. Those first 3 weeks, they were moving the ball. This team has been moving the ball and getting yards all year long. The problem was in these first 3 games, they were struggling to punch it in and actually score. Then versus Seattle, they finally woke up, scored 42 points. That's the last time we saw them. I think coming in this game, 28 points is not too crazy to expect in this matchup against Cowboys defense, that they're not going to be able to generate any pass rush. Jared Goff should have all day to go ahead and throw. They got all the weapons you could possibly ask for in the world. I think the Lions roll here. 28 points and the cover -3, I think is very easy to go ahead and bet. Not a bad parlay option as well. All right, guys, next up, we got Falcons, Panthers, 4:25 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. And I know I'm tailing a lot of favorites this week. I love the favorites this week. I think they're really good spots here. I have 3 picks from this game. They're all Falcons-oriented. Obviously, I know the risks here. If I'm wrong, this is going to look really bad on the record, but I don't care. I'm going with Falcons here at -6 for the first of 3 picks from this game. And I totally forgot to mention, guys, I'm not doing player props in this video for a specific reason. I know we did pretty well on player props last week. I'm going to be doing a separate player prop video. As you can see, this video is already almost 30 minutes long. I still have a lot more picks to get to. Not a lot more, but a few more picks to get to. If I did player props, this video would be like an hour long. So I'm going to do a separate player prop video. I don't want to hold back. I gave out like 5 player props last week, and we went like 3 and 2. Pretty good. But I had a ton of props I didn't give out that did pretty well. I don't want to go ahead and hold back picks because I don't want the videos to be too long. So there will be a separate player prop video coming out either tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on what the release schedule looks like for other videos from Ev and Trey. But we'll be doing a separate player prop video coming out this weekend. Anyways, I digress. Back to this game. We got Falcons here, -6. Again, -110 on DraftKings, available varying sportsbook for varying odds. The Falcons are hitting their groove. I know they had a little bit of a rough start to the year. They obviously had that week 1 loss to the Steelers, that close win versus the Eagles, and they lose that Sunday Night Football heartbreak to the Chiefs. But then they back-to-back wins, big wins in the division against the Saints and the Bucs. Pretty good numbers there. They have not covered the 6-point spread at any point this season. They actually pushed it in that Thursday Night Football overtime win versus the Bucs. But they've had extra rest here, coming off Thursday Night Football, more time to prepare. This Carolina Panthers team is garbage. I don't care. I know they had that big win against the Raiders again. Like, if you saw that Steelers pick, you know how I feel about the Raiders this year. That was more about Las Vegas than it was anything about Carolina. This is a really bad team. I mean, this Falcons defense has pieces everywhere. Really good pass defense. One of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. And then defensively, this is the worst defense in the NFL. I mean, 30 seconds scoring. You saw Kirk Cousins last week had over 500 yards passing and 4 touchdowns against the Bucs. Granted, I don't know if he'll do exactly that against the Panthers, but he should be able to. This is where Kirk Cousins thrives. In his career, he's thrived in these kind of situations where you're playing a bad team. He stat pads a little bit, not intentionally, but stat pads. He gets his numbers in games like these. The Falcons will roll here. I almost took alternate line -9.5, to be totally honest with you. I think the Falcons crush them here. I think -6 is a really good spot. And again, you're getting from -110, pretty good value. I just don't see a way where the Panthers cover. This is a bad team. They got injuries in the offensive line now, too, which was their one strength, was that offensive line. Now they got injuries there. Atlanta's pass rush should be able to get to them. They're top 10 in the NFL in sacks per game. The Panthers obviously giving up a ton of quarterback hits, a ton of sacks, a ton of QB hurries. This is going to be a disaster. I know it's in Carolina. I think the Panthers get absolutely ran through here. Falcons -6 feels like a great bet. And like I said, I have 3 picks. The next one, we're all piggybacking off the Falcons here. I have Falcons first half spread -3.5. Again, they haven't covered this yet this year. This is the weakest team they played this year. They've actually played a pretty tough schedule. They played Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs, Saints, Bucs. Not an easy schedule. This is the easiest game they played so far this year. I don't like the spot for Carolina. Carolina, they have not covered the +3.5 in 4 out of 5 games. So this is a team that gets blown out in the first half. You see here, 27-7 versus Chicago. 21-14 versus the Bengals. The only game where they covered was that Raiders game when they're up 21-7. Besides that, every game this year, the Panthers have been trailing by, and not just 3.5, big points. The closest outside the Raiders game, the closest they've been was 7 points to the Bengals. 30-3 to the Saints, 20-0 to the Chargers, 21-14 to the Bengals, 27-7 to the Bears. This team sucks in the first half. And Atlanta, again, I know they haven't covered in the first half so far, but to be fair, they played a lot of tougher games than the tougher teams than the Panthers. I think the Falcons roll here and crush them in the first half as well as the game. And one more pick from this game, guys. I'm going Falcons team total over 25.5 points. Again, the Panthers are giving up 33 points per game, so they're giving up a ton of points. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. The Falcons here, now, they're averaging 22.2 points per game. See the first 3 games of the year. Now, guaranteed tough defense there with the Steelers, tough defense there with the Chiefs, and tough matchups there. But each of the last 2 games have cashed the over. 26 versus the Saints, 36 versus the Bucs. You just kind of feel like Kirk Cousins is starting to shake the rust off. He's starting to feel more comfortable in this offense. The entire offense in general is just waking up. That is a part of the fact that you have Kirk Cousins now. I just think the Falcons are hitting their stride. They're hitting their groove here. Back-to-back wins, some really good wins, some really good offensive performances here from the Falcons. I think that continues on in this game. I like the Falcons team total here over 25.5 points. Don't overthink it. -130 on DraftKings. Really good spot here. All right, guys, my 14th and final straight bet of today's video. After this, we'll move quickly to the teaser and parlay section. Our final straight bet is Monday Night Football, Jets, Bills, 8:15 p.m. kickoff on Monday, obviously. I have Jets +3 here. If you want to sprinkle money line, I would recommend it. New coach data. It's very simple. It's been a trend across the NFL. When a new coach takes over, the interim coach, typically that first game back, the team plays better. This is still a loaded Jets team. They have a lot of great pieces. I do think now Nathaniel Hackett removed his play caller. I don't think they should have fired Saleh just yet. It was going to happen eventually, let's be honest. But I think the big thing is that Hackett had to get demoted or fired. I know the only reason he's still there is because he's Aaron Rodgers' buddy. That's it. If it wasn't for that, Hackett should not have a job in the NFL, honestly. But he's no longer the play caller. Really good thing there. I think Jets +3 is the play. The Bills kind of trending in the wrong direction here, right? They obviously they started off really hot, 3 straight wins, some dominating wins as well. Ignore that one down there. I know it's 4-11 against the spread in the last 15 games. It goes back to last year too with Zach Wilson, so not a lot to go off of there. A close loss for the Texans, a bad loss versus the Ravens. A couple bad losses there for the Bills. I think they're due for maybe one more here. I just think it's a get-right game for the Jets here. This is still a really good Jets defense, top 10 defense in the NFL for sure. Top 5, honestly, a lot of key metrics here. Second best pass defense, pretty solid run defense. I mean, yards per play, they only give up 4.1 yards per play. They can get to the quarterback too. I mean, a lot of great metrics here with the Jets defense. And then on the Bills defensive side, we talked about that run defense has finally been exposed the last few weeks. You can run on Buffalo, and this feels like a big Breece Hall get-right game. I think the Jets, which have the worst rushing offense so far, which is crazy to me when you have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, you can't run the football. Again, this just feels like the Jets' bounce-back spot here. I like the money line, but I love them at +3 here. -131 on DraftKings. Really good spot. All right, guys, now moving on to the parlay/teaser section of today's video to wrap things up. Our first of a couple of parlays here. We have a straight-up moneyline parlay. I'm going Ravens here, moneyline. They should definitely win that game. Eagles moneyline should definitely win that game. And obviously the Steelers moneyline, one of my favorite bets of the entire weekend. You parlay all three together, you get a parlay of +157. Nice little easy 3-leg moneyline parlay. The riskiest one there in terms of odds standpoint is the Steelers. But again, love the matchup versus the Raiders. +157. Pretty nice little parlay there. All right, this parlay I'm calling the Big Kahuna. Now, obviously, guys, with these parlays, these bigger one odds parlays in particular, don't throw your whole bankroll on them. Let's be smart here. You sprinkle something on them, and if they hit, you do well. But don't put your whole life's mortgage, your house, your mortgage, your car, whatever, on these parlays. Again, they're parlays supposed to be for having fun and for potentially hitting some big money. But obviously, don't be putting a ton of units on these. This is a 4-leg parlay. I'm calling the Big Kahuna parlay. This is just my favorite plays of the week in terms of a spread perspective. We got Lions -3, Falcons -6. Chargers -3, and Steelers -3. I put all three of these, obviously, in today's picks. Just love the spot here. It's +1193 for this 4-leg parlay. You go 4-0 on these picks, you got a really nice hit. I love all 4 spots, and so parlaying them, not a bad option. All right, guys, not a lot of parlays in today's video. I'm leaning more on teasers than only the 2 parlays. Leaning more on teasers here in this week's slate. My first teaser is my must-win teaser. So comment must-win down below. And if this teaser hits, a free $15 Amazon gift card to one lucky commenter. So we're doing 2 giveaway contests. You can even do them the same comment. Comment Steelers and must-win. And if both hit, you could potentially, I'm not going to pick the same person for both, but you know what I mean. You don't have to do 2 different comments. You can do them in the same comment. We'll do 2 giveaways this week. Steelers for the Steelers -3 pick, and must-win for the must-win teaser. I got Ravens -7. We're doing a 7-point tease, by the way. 3-leg teaser, 7-point tease, +130 odds. We're on Ravens -7 with the tease. That takes them down to even. Just all they got to do is win by 1 point, and they win the game. That's all you got to do. We have Eagles at -9.5. That line just keeps jumping up. With the 7-point tease, it takes them to -2.5. Win by 3. Beat the Browns by 3. You're good to go. And then we have Falcons -6 with the tease, takes them to +1. So the Falcons, if they somehow lose this game in a 1-point game, you're still covered there. But basically all these teams have to do is win. The Eagles do have to win by a field goal. Now, but the other 2 games, they just basically have to win. Must-win teaser, +130. Comment must-win. And one lucky commenter will be selected to win a free Amazon gift card if the pick hits. All right, my second teaser guy, I'm calling it my total tease. I'm not very creative there, I'll be honest. But we have a 4-leg teaser. We're targeting all totals here. 4-leg teaser, 7-point tease, +200 odds. Now, if you want to play it safer, you could do the 13-point teaser, -140, which would obviously take this to a really interesting level. That's I almost a guarantee in hitting, but that's obviously -140. This is +200. It's still a 7-point tease. We're going the Commanders Ravens over, the Cardinals Packers over, the Bucs Saints over, and the Chargers Broncos under. What those lines look like with the 7-point tease. You'd be getting the Commanders Ravens over at 44.5. You get the Cardinals Packers over at 40. You have the Bucs Saints over at 35, and the Chargers Broncos under at 42.5. Really good spots there. Again, if you really want to play it safe, -140, you can do either one. But I'm giving you this tease here. Again, that would be the Commanders Ravens over 38.5, Cardinals Packers over 34, Bucs Saints over 29, and Chargers Broncos under 48.5. All really good spots. And my third and final teaser, guys, of this week's slate, I'm calling this the ultimate tease. It's the biggest teaser of the day. It's a 6-leg tease. That's right, 6-leg tease, 7-point teaser, +450 odds. We have a lot of picks to talk about here. A 7-point tease, +450 odds. There are 6 legs in this teaser. We're doing Ravens -7. This always takes them again to even odds. So all they got to do is beat the Commanders outright, and that covers. We're doing Bucs -3.5. The 7-point tease takes them to +3.5 now in that game versus the Saints. We have Colts +3. We're teasing them to +10 in that game versus the Titans. I know I just said not to touch it, but in a 10-point teaser, Titans aren't capable of blowing anybody out. I just don't think so. We have Steelers -3. That takes them to +4 versus the Raiders. We have Falcons -6. Again, that takes them to +1. And Lions -3 takes them to +4 versus the Cowboys. Again, +450 odds, 7-point tease, 6 legs. Not bad. And so, guys, that will do it for this week's video. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. I'll be back next week with another edition of the NFL Oracle. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Make sure to comment down below for those giveaway contests. You don't want to miss out on potentially free money. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys.